Welcome to another Then and Now, the show where we take a band, look at their first album, look at their last or current, compare them, see which one was better, and look through their discography. Today we're looking at a band from America, heavy metal band, progressive metal, Queensrÿche. Now they've been compared to Fates Warning and Dream Theater from that sort of genre. Really good when they started. They sort of went a bit bizarre, and that's when I sort of switched off. But when they changed singers, I listened to some of the albums, give them a chance, and they've sort of gone back on track. Formed in 1980, the original lineup of course was guitarist Michael Wilton and Chris DeGarmo, drummer Scott Rockenfield, bassist Eddie Jackson, and lead vocalist was Jeff Tate. The band at the moment is still Michael Wilton on guitar, Eddie Jackson on bass. We've got Mike Stone on guitars now, Todd LaTorre on lead vocals, and Casey Grillo, who took over a couple of years ago, on the drums. Sold quite a lot of albums as well, over 20 million worldwide, 6 million of them are in the United States. I'd say they was at their best in the mid to late 80s. I mean, they're lower okay now, but I love that early Queensrÿche sound. Okay, so their first album is The Warning, which came out in 1984, and it's that original lineup of Jeff Tate on the vocals, Chris DeGarmo on guitar, Michael Wilton on guitars, Eddie Jackson bass, and Scott Rockenfield on the drums. We've got Michael Kamen doing some orchestral arrangements, and produced by James Guthrie. Okay, the first track on this album is called Warning. It's an okay track. It's got some really nice riffs and interplay with the guitars, and I remember hearing Jeff Tate's voice. I thought, wow, what a singer! Really good little track. It's okay. Then we get Enforce. I love the guitar on this from Chris DeGarmo, absolutely brilliant. What a guitar player, really strong. I love that track a lot. One of my favourites actually out of their entire catalogue. Deliverance. This was this genre. This genre of metal always gives it that dramatic metal, as I like to call it. If there was such a thing, a genre as dramatic metal, this song would fit into it. I love it. It really is dramatic and everything. It's a really good track. No Sanctuary. Jeff Tate's vocal in this is strong. But it's not a particularly favourite track of mine, but I do like his vocal. Then we get NM156. Love the drumming on this from Scott Rockenfield. Terrific track. Take Hold of the Flame. Incredible range of vocals for Jeff Tate. It is superb. Then we get to my favourite track on this album. It's the Before the Storm. It's again one of my favourite tracks by the band. I love the vocal from Jeff on this. The arrangement is fantastic, and Chris DeGarmo's guitar work is fantastic. Child of Fire. More of those great driving riffs. Really good stuff. Then The Road to Madness. This is Eddie Jackson's bass line. Very good bass player. Drives this along. It's one of them melodic metal tracks. It's great work. Great track. So that was the album. What do I think of it? I've always liked this album. I love Jeff Tate's vocals. He's a terrific singer. And after this, they just got better and better. This is a good album. This was a good start. It's no good me just saying it. What did the critics think? Well, Prog Archive said said this about it: "The Warning does not disappoint as a debut and waste no time in kicking off their thoughtful, journeying musical and lyrical ideas, which would eventually gain them status as one of the most respected progressive metal bands around." The Encyclopedia of Metalum said, "The music on The Warning is a blend of classic heavy metal with elements of progressive rock and a hint of power metal. Many will point to some of the obvious Iron Maiden comparisons due to the band's twin guitar harmonies, what that imply, but this is neither a clone or a numb album of plain worship music. The songwriting on The Warning is complex and creating song structures that are sporadic at times, but are mainly due to the variety of genres that the songs are rooted in." There's a couple of good reviews there. Album, what do the fans think? Well, it only got to number 100 in the UK. Swedish album charts was its best position, number 42, and in the Billboard 61. But I think now people look at, if you look at it now, they think it's, you know, in 1984 Metal Hammer rated it as the 13th best power metal album of all time. So I think it's one of them albums that's over the time people have really got a bit of affection for it. I mean, I've always loved it, so it's always stuck there with me. Okay, then let's look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality. The lyrics are really good. The songs themselves they're quite intense in places, very thoughtfully put through, thought about. So I'm going to give it, for song quality, 4 out of 5. The production on this, I think, is really good. This is 1984. There's none of that overdubbed 80s production on this. It's a very solid album, great metal sounding album. So I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 because there's nothing wrong with this. It's crisp, it's clear, it's not clean, it's rough and raw at the edges, which I really enjoy. Reception. As much as the critics loved it, the fans at the time didn't. It's a shame, because when it come out, I mean, I first heard some of this on the Friday Rock Show. So, I mean, Tommy Vance loved it, and I really got into it. So it's a bit mixed here. So I'm going to give it a reception of 3 out of 5, which gives us a total for The Warning by Queensrÿche of 12 out of 15. Good score. So, time to get in the time machine. Got to go 35 years on, and we're going to end up in 2019 for the 15th album by Queensrÿche, The Verdict. A lot of changes since 1984. We've got a new singer now, Todd LaTorre on vocals. Michael Wilton's still there. Also, Michael Rockenfield's still there. Scott Rockenfield, sorry, what did I say, Michael, on the drums. We've now got Parker Lerdran on the rhythm. Eddie Jackson is still there on the bass. Production is done by Zeus. So, first track on The Verdict is Blood of the Levant. Good rock track. Really strong guitar riffs. Michael Wilton now has taken over as lead guitar. He's a really good guitar player as well. I used to love him and Chris. Michael and Chris were really good working together, but no longer will happen, so Michael has taken over. Strong's track. Man in the Sheen, solid enough track. Todd's vocals are pretty good. He's a very good singer, you know. Good, not just in the same sort of calibre as Jeff Tate, but he sings them songs really well. Got no problem with that. Light Years, love this. This is going back to good old-fashioned Queensrÿche. them complicated guitar pieces, the twin guitars, the great basses ever from Eddie Jackson. Great track that is. Inside Out, again, one of the tracks, they're really on this album, they've gone back to basics and what Queensrÿche were all about. It's another good track. Propaganda Fashion, I just found this a bit generic. It's just, how do I put it? It just sounds like an ordinary sort of rock track. Nothing special about it. Dark Reverie. This is an amazing track. It's very strong. It is going back to the height of Queensrÿche when they were at their peak. Some great guitar work on it. Fantastic vocal from Todd. Brilliant track. Bent. It's alright. It's not particularly a fantastic track, but it's listenable. Inner Unrest. Got some great driving riffs on this. But that's all that I can say about it. It's a little bit ornery, but the riffs are pretty good. Launder the Conscience, solid enough track, but it's more just rock than progressive metal. It's okay. Portrait, but this one is fantastic. It does sound like old-fashioned Queensrÿche. Pretty cool track. How do I think? It's not a bad album. It's a bit of a mixture. You've got them really back to the roots Queensrÿche on here, but there's some just standard rock tracks as well. When it comes to Queensrÿche, I'm afraid I do like Todd's vocals. I think he's a great singer, but my sort of heart is still back in the Jeff Tate days, in them early days before they sort of started going off the track, and I do prefer their earlier stuff. So that was what I thought. I don't discredit this album because it is it's one of their best albums for a long time. So what did the critics think? Louder Sound described the album as an improvement on their Condition Human album, which is very true, and it has got hallmarks of the band's early classics. Metal Nation said the verdict is the most impressive and cohesive effort in years, given the strength of their previous two records with Latour, and that's no small feat. As most of the best Queensrÿche albums do, the verdict grows stronger and reveals more layers with each pass through. All Music gave it 4 stars. Blabbermouth Net 8.5. Classic Rock 3 and a bit. How did he do in the fans? Scottish album charts. 49. German number 6. Swiss number 9, and US number 110. So I'd say in Europe they loved it. So let's look at the nuts and bolts of this. Song quality. I felt that some of the songs were a little weak. The lyrics, I don't think they've got the same punch as Jeff Tate's and Chris DeMarco's. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Production on this is pretty good. Although in some parts the drums are sort of muffled a little bit. I don't know what was going on there. But on the whole it's pretty good. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. Reception. The Americans sort of poo-pooed it. But it did well in Germany and the critics liked it, and I don't mind it. I think it's a good album, and I'm going to give it a reception 4 out of 5, giving the verdict a total of 11 out of 15. So today the Warning pips it by 1 point. Okay then, let's just have a quick look at the rest of the catalogue. So 1986. Well, I'm not going to say how I feel about these albums, because I'm sure someone out there is going to say, Ian, I think you need to do a full album ranking. Rage for Order was 1986. This is Jeff Tate, Chris DeGarmo, Michael Wilton and Eddie Jackson and Scott Rockenfield. Walk in the Shadows, one of my favourite tracks by Queensrÿche. Love the vocal. Then we had I Dream in Infrared, The Whisper, Gonna Let Used to You, which is the Bellow cover. It's not a very good cover either. The Killing Words, brilliant and great arrangement. Love Chris's guitar work in this. It's absolutely spot on. Surgical Strike, New Grigal, Chemical Youth. Great riffing. Okay, the drums, it is 86. There's none of that horrible 80s production on that track. Great track. London's pretty good. Screaming in Digital, fantastic track. Love the keyboards on here, which I think are done by a guy called Neil Kernan. Great, really adds to this track. And the last track is I Will Remember. And then 1988 we had Operation Mindcrime. All I'll say is a classic album. I Remember You, I Remember Now, a little bit of guitar work, and then we go into Anarchy X, which is more instrumental. First real rock track on here is Revolution Calling, really strong track. Then we get Operation Mindcrime, a classic. Love the licks and the shreds from DeGarmo, and the solo is excellent on that one. Speak is a good track. Spreading the Disease, like this track. I love Scott's drumming on that. Really bellows through you. The Mission's a good track. Sweet Sister Mary, excellent little track, and then a bit of a progressive metal epic, pretty good. The Needle Lies, Electric Requiem, a little short piece. Breaking the Silence, another one of them really driving twin guitar tracks. I Don't Believe in Love, the opening riff in this is absolutely brilliant. Let me get a little 1 minute 5 instrumental, Waiting for 22. My Empty Room and The Eyes of the Stranger. 1990's the next album, and it's Empire. Starts off with Best I Can. Love them driving riffs. Some great bass here from Eddie Jackson, excellent. The Thin Line, Jet City Woman, Della Brown, Another Rainy Day. What a track this is. Again, top 10 songs by Queensrÿche. Double guitar on this is fantastic. Empire itself, Jeff Tate's vocals are absolutely stunning on this. It just shows the different styles of vocals and his range. Fantastic track. Resistance is pretty good. Silence, Lucidity, I love the acoustic guitar of this. And then it just goes into an almighty rock track, of course. Hand on Heart's okay, Only One and Only's okay, and Anybody Listening is the last track. Pretty solid album, actually. Promised Land from 1994. Still the classic lineup. We get a little short piece called 9:28 AM. I, pretty good track. Damaged. Love the drumming on this. The guitar work from DeGarmo is fantastic. Outer Mind Bridge, Promised Land. Again, Eddie Jackson's bass line is good. The atmosphere on this track is really fantastic and really eerie. Disconnected, Lady Jane, My Global Mind, one more time. Then we get Somewhere Else. I like the structure of this song. I love the arrangement on it. It's got everything that you want from progressive metal. Really strong track. Then we get here into the Frontier, Now Frontier. This was Chris DeGarmo's last official album. It's not the last time he plays, but this is his last official album. Sign of the Times, Great guitar work here from Chris DeGarmo. Love this track. Cuckoo's Nest, Get a Life. The bass line from Eddie Jackson is stalwart on that. Brilliant stuff. Then we get the voice inside. Some People Fly, Saved You, Hero. They're okay tracks and nothing spectacular. Miles Away, another song with driving riffs and the bass sort of, you've got these two guitars, you've got the bass. It's really good. I love listening to that one. Then we get Reach, All I Want, Hit the Black. Driving bass line again, and the drumming is superb on that. Anywhere and Anytime, Anywhere. More of them great little riffs. Lots of little shreds in there as well. Really good track. And the album ends up with Spool, which is a bit mediocre. Okay, come 1999, we got Q2K, new guitarist. Kelly Gray, the one and only album to appear on. The rest of the band are the same: Jeff Tate, Michael Wilton, Eddie Jackson and Scott Rockenfield. Falling Down, it's alright. Sacred Ground, lots of guitar work on this, really, really good. Michael Wilton's taken over as lead guitar now. He's really strong on that track. One Life, When the Rain Comes, How Could I Beside You. Liquid Sky, really good song. The interplay between the two guitarists is absolutely brilliant. Breakdown, Burning Man, What a Kind of Man, The Right Side of Mind. It's an alright album. It just sort of lost with Chris gone, it sort of lost the magic a little bit. 2003 then, we got Tribe. We got Kelly Gray's gone, so it's Jeff Tate, Michael Wilton, Eddie Jackson and Scott Rockenfield. Chris DeGarmo comes back and plays on track 1, 3, 4, 9 and 10. Mike Stone does the rhythm guitar as well. So we got Open. This is great. It was great to hear Chris DeGarmo again. When you listen to the track, you can pick him out a mile off. Great track to open the album. Losing Myself, Desert Dance, Falling Behind, The Great Divide. Great track. Driving riffs. Great vocal from Jeff. Rhythm of Hope. Tribe. One of the better tracks on this album. It's really strong. Anything that I think that what this album lacked was Chris DeGarmo playing on everything. Blood's okay. The Art of Life, really good. Great guitar solo from Chris DeGarmo on that. Doing Fine, okay. 2006. 2006, Operation Mindcrime II. Mike Stone is now official guitarist. Chris DeGarmo's no longer doing anything. There's lots of MIDI programming in on this, in orchestral. Yeah, this is where it really started going wrong. First track is Fahrenheit Overture, Convict, I'm American, One Fool in Hell. Hostage, again, one of the better songs on here. It's a really good song. The Hands of Slater. This also features Ronnie James Dio as Dr. X and Pamela Moore as Sister Mary, of course. Forgot to mention that. The Speed of Light, Sign, Say Go, Rearrange the Trace, Murderer, Circles, If I Could Change It All, and in International Confrontation. A Junkie Blues is okay, it's one of the better tracks. Fierce City Slide and All the Promises. As you can see, I'm not very keen on that album. I don't think they needed to do another Mindcrime, to be quite honest. Okay then, come 2007, Take Cover, a covers album. I really struggled a bit here. When a band like this has to put out a covers album, you know they've dried up. On here we've got Welcome to the Machines, Pink Floyd of course, not too bad. Heaven on Their Mind is awful. Don't need a heavy metal version of that. Almost Cut My Hair. The great Cosby, Stills and Nash and Young song from 1970. Bit too heavy for me. Don't need that. For what it's worth, song from Buffalo Springfield, I prefer the original. For the love of money, the OJ's, awful version. Innuendo, no, you don't cover Queen songs. Neon Nights, probably the best cover on this album. Then Synchronicity II. Give me the police version, please. Then they do Red Rain. What are you doing? Leave Peter alone. You've ruined it. Odysseia. They do a... This is an operatic thing that was performed by Carlo Morale and Salvatore Licura. Can't pronounce the names. It's totally mullered. Bullet in the Sky from U2 is not a bad version. On the whole, a dreadful album. Then in 2009 we had American Soldier. Down to a 4-piece now. We've got Jeff Tate, Michael Wilton, Eddie Jackson, Scott Rockenfield, Slither, Unfraid, 100 Mile Stare, 30,000 Feet, A Dead Man's Words, The Killer, probably the best track on the album, Middle of Hell, If I Were King, Man Down, nice guitar work, Remember Me, Home Again, The Voice, not a bad track on this very, very mediocre album. 2011 then, Dedicated to Chaos. This was Jeff Tate's last album. And Kenny Gray comes back and does a little bit of production and engineering for them and a bit of guitar. Michael Wilson, Eddie Jackson, Scott Rockenfield and Parker Lundrum, who was in the band as well, makes his first appearance doing some work. I don't like this album at all. There's not one track on there that I can really say I love. Tracks we Get Started, Hot Spot, Spot Junkie, Got It Bad, Higher, What We Do, Around the World, Drive, At the Edge, I Take You, Retail Therapy, The Line, Big Noise. Nothing on there that really floated my boat. I'll tell you now, if we do a full ranking, that is bottom. It's just, I just don't like it. Okay, next album out, 2013, was the self-titled Queensrÿche. First album that Todd Latour sang on. Parker Lundrum is now a full member. Michael Wilton's still there, and Eddie Jackson and Scott Rockenfield. X2 is a little instrumental, it's okay. Where Do Dreams Go to Die? This is okay. It sounds very much like the old Queensrÿche. After they'd gone through their weird phase, the sound is sort of coming back. Spore, again, we're really getting back into the groove. In This Light, Redemption, Vindication, Midnight Lullaby, A World Without are okay tracks. Don't Look Back, pretty strong track. Great drumming here from Rockenfield. And Mr. Latour is just sort of finding his steps. Fallout, I like this track. I love the guitar on this. The harmonies are really good. Open Road, pretty good. Todd's really sort of learning his trade. Then we get to 2015 for Condition Human. Same lineup: Latour, Wilton, Lundgren, Jackson and Rockenfield. Arrow Time, not very good. Guardian, again, one of the better tracks. The drumming's good on here. Hellfire, amazing guitar solo from Michael Wilton on this. That's a great track. I like that one. Toxic Remedy, Selfish Lies. I9, Eddie Jackson's bass line is on, really good. This is really a track that goes back to them early Queensrÿche albums. Bulletproof, Hourglass, Just Us, All There Was, The Aftermath and Condition Human. It's not a bad album, but they're still finding their feet, which they finally did with Todd on The Verdict. As I said, this is a band that's been through many turmoil and lost a lot of fans towards the end of Jeff Tate's time with the band. I think they got, because of what music was going on at the time, you know, they didn't know where to fit in, and they tried all sorts, and it's a shame because I'll always remember them from them first 3 or 4 albums. Okay, that's all for this one. I'll be back later with album artwork, and we're looking at another progressive metal band's artwork, and we're going to be looking at Symphony X. And don't forget tonight, live stream, 8 p.m. So I'll see you later. Bye for now.